All right, good afternoon, everyone from Singapore, and hello to our friends tuning in from all around the globe. Welcome to today's session on the deep tech economy, emerging market insights from Turkey. My name is Wei Min, and for those who may know, SGinnovate is a government-backed deep tech investor and company builder whose mission is to help entrepreneurial scientists build deep tech startups that are looking to solve big global problems. Our work also involves building a global community of leaders, thinkers, and doers to drive and scale up deep tech innovations in areas such as AI, healthcare, quantum tech, and autonomous technology across various industries. In today's event, we are glad to have partnered with the Turkey Investment Office as we take a closer look into Turkey as it become a growing innovation hub between Southeastern Europe and Middle East regions. Our speakers today are the pioneers in the investment ecosystem for startups in Turkey, and they will share more as to what it means to be investing in the country. We encourage all attendees to share with us your thoughts on the topic or interact with our speakers by posting your questions in the Q&A tab, located at the bottom panel of your screen. Otherwise, feel free to just say hi and do a quick shout out from where you are in the chat box below. With no further ado, do allow me to pass the time to Emre Bukalic, Country Advisor at Investment Office of Turkey, for opening remarks as well before we move on to the discussion. Emre, please.
Thanks very much, Wei Min. Very good afternoon to all our friends based in Singapore and across whole Asia Pacific, and a very good morning to our friends in Turkey and the Western bloc of the world. I just would like to introduce myself and my organization very briefly. My name is Emre Bukalic. I'm based in Singapore as the country and the regional advisor and the representative of Turkish Investment Office, which you can think like the Singapore's Economic Development Board's counterparts in this part of the world. And today we are very pleased to co-host such a wonderful event on a very strategic topic on the deep tech ecosystem of Turkish economy. And we do have very distinguished speakers and moderating this session. Before we go through the session itself, I just would like to point out a few remarks on our thoughts towards this particular topic on the deep tech economy in Turkey. As we all know, the pandemic, as we have been facing, just spreading out in a short period of time, has led to, along with other serious problems and concerns, a much stronger sense of perception as to the rising technology revolution worldwide. And this process has just highlighted that the most critical card that the world holds to battle against such kinds of challenges is technology, particularly the deep technologies, and in short, the deep tech, as we all know. And creating solutions for not only health, but also for all other industries. Deep tech have breakthrough impacts, and from this aspect, deep tech is critically important for the governments and the governmental institutions, including ourselves. And when we look at Turkey's deep tech ecosystem has also been flourishing over the last 5 years period of time, and as we witness globally competitive success stories. And on the growth rate of the professional developer talent, Turkey is one of the highest among Europe, with almost a 30% year-on-year growth. And the talent pool size in Turkey alone is also more substantial than many other sub-regions in European continent with a cost-competitive structure. And those advantages pave the way for lower cost of scaling, accompanied by a non-inflated valuations, I would say, and the high quality engineering education of leading universities and the rise of status of being an entrepreneur within the society, and the globally well-connected Turkish entrepreneurs and scientists lead a sustainable deal flow in deep tech domains across Turkey. So when we look at the last decade, the focus of the most of the investments in line with the global trends has been towards the business model innovations rather than the deep technology endeavors, maybe because of the lower capital requirements. But on the other hand, as a public policy, deep tech ventures and the small and medium enterprises, let's say, has been granted by the government almost 2.5 billion euros in over 15 companies. So this policy has just enabled a build-up of the innovative startups solving huge problems with a protected intellectual property. So finally, I'll just step into a bit as I said, ecosystem in Turkey, and I'm sure our next speaker, Timur Bey, will be further elaborating through his presentation. But before doing so, just would like to mention about the technoparks concept, which is also a very solid ground for the technology-based, technology-driven entrepreneurs in Turkey, which offers several incentive mechanisms with almost like zero, taxes and financial liabilities for the operating companies. And within just 20 years period of time, the number of those technoparks has reached almost 84. And among those, technoparks, there are more than, 5,800 companies conducting those R&D activities, and those companies are, employing more than almost 60,000 people at all. So long story short, we have a growing ecosystem. We are one of the, let's say, leading players in the emerging markets in terms of the startup ecosystem. And within just 10 months time, we managed to raise 2 unicorns. With one of them was just announced recently with a 2.6 billion valuation and funded by world's top-notch venture capital funds. So all in all, we are very happy to initiate such a dialogue between 2 very friendly countries, regions, Turkey and Southeast Asia, particularly Singapore. And please always feel free to reach out to us. We are here and always would be happy to assist and advise for your any type of plans to expand into the Turkish markets. So I'm also excited to hear from our expert speakers. I think I just need to pass the word back to you, Vimin, just for your guidance through our session. Thank you again.
Thank you, Emre Bey. Now I think we will just pass the time over to Timur Bey for your presentation, please. Yeah.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon to Singapore and good morning to everyone further to the western side. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you to SGinnovate and to the investment agency of Turkey for inviting us here to present. My name is Timur Topalgoekceli and I'm the founder and the CEO of Hello Tomorrow Turkey. And in the short presentation over the next 10 minutes, I will share with you our insights of the deep tech economy, how deep tech has helped an emerging market economy like Turkey to create real value, especially help address the innovators, how to remove the barriers in front of them and bring technologies from the lab to the market and accelerate this with all sorts of support mechanisms, and to hopefully also be a source of inspiration for other countries in the region, in Southeast Asia, across the world, Latin America, that are going through similar extremely high-paced change environments. I prepared a couple of slides with you that I would like to share. I believe I need to just have here I need to be able to share, I believe, if I'm allowed to share my slides. Otherwise, we will have to send them to you. I can't seem to share them right now.
You should be able to. Could you just try to share the screen again?
Yes, it should be 1 second. Should be allowed to share it. Worst case, maybe I can send them to you. 1 second. I think the last Zoom update may have deblocked my sharing, so I have just Okay, maybe I can share it now. I hope so. Otherwise, yes, I think I can share it now. Apologies for the delay here. It's funny, we talk about deep tech and then, we have basically low tech blocking us. Can everybody see the screen right now? If just somebody can confirm.
Yes, Timur, we can.
And so, sorry for the delay. So, as I said today, the impact, the subject of our topic will be to show you, insights into the Turkish deep tech ecosystem, which Hello Tomorrow Turkey has been instrumental in helping to grow, and then also, shed light on potential avenues for collaboration between Turkey and Singapore. So I will briefly touch upon 4 points. So first, as Hello Tomorrow, we are a global deep tech network that spans across 132 countries. So I will give you a context of Turkey and the Hello Tomorrow global deep tech ecosystem. Then I will dive into more detail with some data and some facts about the very, very fast-paced growth of the Turkish deep tech ecosystem. What is important to note here is, although maybe some numbers may seem low, it is the pace of evolution, the pace of growth that is, I think, of particular concern and interest here, especially for investors and people who want to engage with. Turkey and Singapore are very different markets that have extremely that have a lot of connection points just because of their different setup. And as deep tech entrepreneurs, we decided to apply our methodology of how we would go on and solve a deep tech challenge to hopefully also, helping solve the challenge of coming of those both countries and regions to come together more efficiently. And last but not least, we've also looked into strategic areas of collaboration that are important for both Singapore and Turkey. And so hopefully we can maybe set, just a few beginning steps to building a much more robust collaboration in the future. And I will share a few specific examples here. So to start off with, Hello Tomorrow is a global organization, and we are in Turkey the first international hub of a global, alliance of Hello Tomorrow offices and curators, and a very wide network of university spin-offs, accelerators, investors, and innovators. And when we started in 2016, Turkey was very, very far down on the deep tech map, maybe around 60th or 70th, rank. But very quickly on, now over the last years, we have ranked of those 132 countries, 12 in a row. So something has happened, and the pace of change is something we'd like to look at. For Hello Tomorrow, we have a presence also in Singapore. Just recently, at the beginning of this week, we renamed it and we became Hello Tomorrow Southeast Asia. And when I'm sharing my insights and experiences as Hello Tomorrow Turkey's founder, I'm also speaking on behalf of all my colleagues across the world that are helping to drive deep tech forward. So you are already part of this global network if you're participating in this conference. Very quickly, as Hello Tomorrow, what we do is we built an ecosystem that involves hundreds of universities, research centers, and technological incubators and investors. Then we run a challenge that is a €100,000 non-equity based challenge that helps us really dive deep into the data of what innovations are happening from across the world. Then usually we bring those people together in physical events, now obviously digital, but hopefully very soon again in person. And then basically we help foster investment decisions and deals to happen very soon after we make these events. And we're very happy to say that with Singapore, we have had one of the most successful stories here, and with Turkey, one of the fastest growing success stories. And last but not least, when we take all these ecosystem players, the data and the physical connection points, we basically have deep insight into the deep tech ecosystem. And that's the case for Turkey and Singapore and all across the world. And so we do advisory services. That's in short what we do as Hello Tomorrow. We look at sectors that are only deep tech. So for us, it's really to solve the humanities challenges. And we look at early stage, Series A and below, technologically proven companies that are created already, no matter what the age makeup or gender makeup is. Oftentimes, most of them are university spin-offs with patented technologies, and that are here from medical, biotech, AI, cybersecurity, industrial biotech, quantum computing, to all the way to rocket propulsion. So this is our world, and through this lens, we will look at this Turkey and Singapore. Some of the winners that you may have heard of. So we have startups that won our competition, from all across the world, that develop spinal cord implants, that plant trees with drones, that have a geospatial mapping system patented by former NASA engineers. We have Lilium Jet now, having raised several millions of dollars for electrical vertical takeoff and landing enabled planes. We have SATI, an MIT spin-off that helps develop sustainable sanitary pads for women from banana peels. RX, all from Nigeria, developing nanoscanners to detect fake drugs, and Agora from Canada, who develops a carbon dioxide redox flow battery, turning carbon dioxide into energy. What happened 3 years ago is this challenge, which drew a lot of attention, we divided into regional challenges, and we have a Southeast Asia challenge, we have a Turkey challenge, we had an Africa challenge, we also have a Japan one, but that is not updated on the map here. And so by doing so, we saw an increase of applications in those regions, and those regions all started to jump up on the map of our rankings across the sectors. If we look in deeper, if we look at where the applications come in, from which sectors, you see that it's worldwide. And if you look at the map to the left-hand side, the darker areas are those that see the strongest growth of applications. And Turkey here is one of the darker colored ones, because when we announced the Turkey challenge, the next year we saw 6-fold growth in applications of deep tech startups, and that's what propelled us, several ranks up. Singapore has already been ranking really high, but continues to generate, very high quality startups. So what I'm saying is there's already a conversion here. And if you look onto the right-hand side, you will see 2 cities that may catch your attention, because on this ranking, we look at where the best 600 of over 5,000 applying startups come from, and we see that Singapore is on top of the league with London and Paris and San Francisco, but that Istanbul, for the first time, and that was 2 years in a row, was ranked in the top 10 as well. So while you may not hear about deep tech in Turkey in the mainstream media, a lot has been happening behind the scenes. And that's why Hello Timur Turkey is very proud to share some of the data and some of the examples of those pioneers that are doing so. Last but not least, the sectors are generally healthcare, industry, energy, but also computing and AI, IoT. These are the winners of our Turkey challenges. We have Nanomatter that's developed technology to reduce pesticide consumption. They won our 2018 finals. We have Tazi AI that have raised several $1 million. It's a startup that the first one from Turkey that was qualified by Gartner's cool vendors in AI. They had offices in Palo Alto and are selling AI across healthcare, energy, and finance across the world, and are very, very strong startup as well. In healthcare and biotechnology, we have Interact Medical Technologies that designed a 3-dimensional medical robot that allows for physiotherapy and combines it with artificial intelligence, patented technology, ready to be sold with investors across Europe as well. In another one, because you may think they're always from Istanbul or from Ankara, BPREG, for example, is from Izmir, and they develop very light, extremely resistant composite materials that are especially used in the transportation and mobility sector. RS Research, our grand winner from last year, in 2019, we had an extended break, so that's why we skipped from 18 to 2020 because of the pandemic. The RS Research has several patents and is a smart drug delivery platform, which in chemotherapy allows to reduce the negative effects of the drug onto the body before reaching the target tumor cells. And RS Research was the first finalist to also compete in the Global Challenge Super Finals. So there were only 80 startups selected from around the world. I think there was also 1 or 2 from Singapore, but that's only where 1.5% of the startups are selected. And we had a second one last year, Cellsway, that's also from the digital health and medical devices, and that are revolutionizing the liquid biopsy technology field. So there are plenty of examples, as I said, that you may not hear in mainstream media, but that develop patented technologies with a large and lasting impact across the world. So behind this fast pace of growth, like was mentioned in the introductory remark by Emre Bey, there is a web of support mechanisms, because the problem is deep tech is still considered a very risky area to step into, and that's something that we see across the world. So here you see across the Turkey's map, the technoparks. And what I want to show here, you may not be familiar with Turkey's regions, that's not a problem, but they are spread across in almost every region. And so what we're doing right now is we're shifting from quantity towards quality so that these supporting technoparks can develop and help develop the best deep tech startups, qualitatively speaking, as well. If you look at the investment figures, this is from a data company that's called Startups Watch that compiles investment data year on year by sector. You see that there's a general trend that grows very quickly. The overall numbers speak one story, the breakdown speaks another one. But here you see that in 2020 you have, with almost $140 million in VC spending in the Turkish ecosystem, a new record high, and we believe that this trend is going to continue. Also, if you look at the number of investments. Then if you look at the breakdown, as was mentioned before, the Turkish startup ecosystem in general is still a very young one. So it is linked on a non-physical infrastructure. So what I'm saying is, for example, e-commerce, fintech, and SaaS platforms are the ones that flourished much faster because of the nature of the economic setup. But what we're seeing now more and more is deep tech and more integrated technological research based startups take the scene. And here you see areas that are still marked as other and healthcare grow much more rapidly and kind of eat into the e-commerce and delivery logistics and ads marketing market share. If you look at VC investment by vertical, you still see again the same picture. SaaS and AI marketing tech are very strong. They're leading, and with gaming, you had two unicorns already, one from gaming, one from the grocery delivery, the platform. But now you see healthcare rise extremely fast, especially in telemedicine, and also in deep tech. Here the numbers are still low, but they're rising much faster. I'd like to add a point of a comment here. When you say only $7 million, our 26 finalists there's always a problem with compiling numbers, especially when there are exchange rates. But let me just give you one number. With the 26 finalists only from Hello Tomorrow Turkey over the last 3 years, they have raised $32.3 million US. So the numbers, they vary according to the timeline which you're looking at, right? This is only annual, incremental investments. So what I'm saying is deep tech is rising much faster in volume, in share, and in the number of deals made. If you look at the segmentation in which subsectors of deep tech, you see activity, then you can identify very clearly AI, Industry 4.0, and new materials. So this is what you see on the left-hand side, right? The technology type. And what you see on the top end is basically the subsectors where you would see them applied. And you can still see that mobile, telco, and manufacturing and health are leading the way here. Consumer products and energy also. So this is also an area that overlaps with Singapore's specialty and focus areas as well for future planning and strategy, which I will touch upon in the next slides. Another point which is interesting is, since deep tech is still considered a risky investment, you see the vast majority, around 60% of the investments, still at very small scale, under $250,000 per investment. This number we also project to change much faster, especially because deep tech startups are also receiving government grants, support mechanisms, and then the private sector investment comes on top of it. So this is a crucial area we may also want to discuss in the panel. And when you talk about deep tech, you also talk about technology development, and so oftentimes this translates into actual patented technologies. When you look at the patent landscape in Turkey, this data comes from Patent Effect in a report that was done with the Technopark with Cube Innovation. You see that there's a clear trend over the last 7-8 years. It may look like it has plateaued, but this is not the case. This is, I think, more related to macroeconomic situations and some delays caused by them. But generally speaking, you have much more patented technologies. Right now, we count around 410 deep tech startups that have combined number of patents of around 1,100. So these numbers are very promising, and they put those deep tech startups in the global league. And if you look at which areas, then obviously biotechnology, new materials, nanotechnology, and autonomous vehicles, these are leading the way. So this is a breakdown of the leading sectors of those 410 patented technology startups. And now before finishing the presentation, let's take a few minutes to talk about Turkey and Singapore. And what we say by applying the deep tech method is just like we solve any big problem, we need to break it down, right? I'm not saying that collaboration between Singapore and Turkey is a problem, but it's still something that we can solve and or do much better, right? And so, first of all, when we look at the Research Innovation Enterprise Secretariat's, 2021, 2025 plan that comes from the Prime Minister's office from Singapore, you see very clearly that there are basically 4 strategic domains. You see them in manufacturing, trade, connectivity, human health, urban solutions, and the smart nation digital economy. And then you see that there's a cross-cutting horizontal architecture here. In all of those, I believe that there's a possibility to identify priority structures which would help Singapore raise not only their domestic labor force and especially high-tech qualified innovators, but also allow them to expand, for example, in a large market in Turkey, like Turkey or the region, but also allow for innovators from both countries to tap into the resources that both of them are offering. So, for example, in Singapore you have very high quality research, whereas in Turkey you have a very fast and dynamic big market that is very well connected to Europe, Middle East, and also to nascent structures in Africa in terms of deep tech. So what I'm saying is that we can identify with those strategic targets and the structures in place how to go on about and solving the problem. And as you know, this is from our research that we do jointly with the Boston Consulting Group. Deep tech requires time, so we're talking about time frame of 4 years, 5 years, sometimes shorter if it's software related. But how about using this time in an efficient way to plan the collaboration structure between both countries and make it a much more smarter decision targeted around focus areas that are well defined. As deep tech entrepreneurs, we like to conceptualize things as well. In one of our recent reports, we identified that the deep tech principles are defined by 4 moments of truth. So basically you start off with the Copernicus moment, right? Asking, could the reality be different? Then you move on to what we call the Newton moment. Is there a way to make it actually possible to transform it into reality? Before then making the first step, like Armstrong did on the moon, can we build it today? And then you have the Asimov movement, as you know, the scientist and the writer, where this becomes a reality, the new reality. How does the new norm look like? And if you look at examples like with Moderna, this is what deep tech startups follow pretty much through. Now, my invitation to all of you that are listening here is, why don't we apply these 4 steps to building a much more collaborative workspace, especially now that we are used to working from distance and in a digital and much, much faster paced way. And that leads me to the final remarks, concrete avenues for collaboration that we can build between Singapore and Turkey. This is a screenshot from the website that I took from Enterprise Singapore, looking at overseas markets and Turkey and profiling some industries. So I believe that there's reason to suggest that these are areas that Singaporean businesses may find interesting. And infrastructure, consumer electronics, energy, water, waste management, manufacturing are listed here as areas that have clear interest. I believe that we can add many more, and I believe that we can sub-segment them as well. But I know that in Singapore, healthcare, and especially IoT and communicating, devices in construction is extremely important, given the nature of Singapore's construction industry and also manufacturing industry. So maybe the high-tech know-how developed in Singapore can be applied to the still very fast-growing manufacturing industry and construction industry in Turkey, and the market size of almost 84 million people, and as well, as I said, the connectivity to neighboring regions, I think are very attractive options for Singaporean startups as well. 2 concrete avenues would be, one, as you know, Singapore is running a global innovation alliance, and here the quality of the picture is not very good, but you see Hello Tomorrow. Our colleagues in Singapore and that have launched a new Hello Tomorrow Innovation Alliance with France, for example, have thankfully shared with me their experience, and I believe that we can build a similar project with Turkey, whereby we would show to the Singaporean innovators the attractivity of the Turkish market and the opportunities that lie therein, and then add Turkey on this map that you see, where the Global Innovation Alliance from Singapore is already reaching across the globe. The second is, we can help Turkish startups maybe set foot in Singapore and use this also as a launch pad. And has this been done before? You may never have heard of it, but yes, it has. And I'd like to just share here the example of Insider, which is a SaaS platform. It's not a deep tech in the sense like we may have considered at the beginning, but still a very innovative and very successful company that has moved their headquarters from Istanbul to Singapore, and that that have raised now the Series C funding and have received investment from the likes of Sequoia Capital, etc., and that are also among their customers the Singapore Airlines, Samsung, very big conglomerates in the Southeast Asian region. So what I'm saying is there have been precedents, and there is a very clear target segmentation that we can work with. And this is what I would invite you to look at. I hope that this very short remarks were helpful to you with numbers, with data. And I was in Singapore in January 2020. I wish I could be with you right now. I had a great time. I cannot wait to be back. And here we're sharing two beautiful pictures of Istanbul and Singapore. I hope that those bridges that we see here also metaphorically translate into a much stronger knit collaboration, because I personally believe, also from what I've seen and the data that I've gathered, that there's a lot of ground that we can build on with. So thank you very much for having listened to me, and I look forward to the discussions in the subsequent panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Timur Bey. So now we will proceed on with our panel discussion. I would like to invite Ms. Edwina Yeo, co-founder and CEO of Super Momos, to start the session. Edwina, please.
All right, thank you, Wei Min. Thanks a lot also, Timur Bey. That was a very informative presentation with concrete examples of collaboration opportunities between Turkey and Singapore in the deep tech space. So now we'll be moving on to the panel discussion and Q&A. So please feel free to just type in your questions as and when they arise, and we'll try our best to cover all of them during the session. So before we start, a quick introduction about myself. I'm Edwina, born and bred in Singapore. I'm the co-founder of Super Momos, which is a knowledge-based social network. Was previously part of the venture capital ecosystem in Singapore. So I was a partner at 10 Million Venture Partners, a $50 million VC fund focused on high growth tech investments in India and Southeast Asia. Before that, I was also at BCG and later a part of Tiger Global's portfolio management team, where I worked with internet companies, again in India and also the Middle East. So one of my portfolio companies was Souk, which is the largest e-com player in the Middle East. They got acquired by Amazon in 2017, and that was my first brush with the Middle East personally, which I found to be a very vibrant and diverse market. Turkey and Singapore's diplomatic relations were established in 1969. That's slightly more than 50 years to date. And both countries have a great relationship. So I think it's really wonderful that the Turkey Investment Office, led by Emre Bey and SGinnovate and Wei Min, that they're all promoting all this cross-country knowledge sharing on deep tech. So without further ado, we'll start with a round of introductions of our very distinguished panelists. So first with Altan Bey. He's a partner at Diffusion Capital Partners. Altan Bey, could you please tell us a bit more about yourself?
Thank you, Edwina. Thank you for the invitation as well. I am Altan Küçükçınar. I'm a partner at Diffusion Capital Partners, which is a fund manager, especially focused on the deep tech opportunities in Turkey. Until now, we had raised 2 funds. The first fund closed in 2015. From that, we had 18 investments. And proud I can say 2 of the Hello Tomorrow companies that Timur Bey has shown us are in our portfolio, and Salesway, formerly known as Microbio. We had our second fund had the first close in 2020, in September 2020. It will be around 30 million as well, 30 million euros. The first one was 36 million. We had the first close of 30 million euros for the second fund. And with that one, we also have a similar investment thesis and investment strategy covering the Turkey and neighboring regions and focusing on the deep tech opportunities. We're a generalist fund, although focused on deep technology. We're sector agnostic. We invest in life sciences, information technology, material sciences, everything which has a solid competitive edge coming from the superiority in technology is in our focus. Hopefully we'll have around 10 to 15 companies at the end of the portfolio lifetime. We invest in seed rounds and in Series A rounds as well. I think this covers a little bit of brief information about myself and my company. Can you hear me, Edwina?
Yeah. All right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Altan Bey. So next up, we'll have Timur Bey, founder and head of Hello Tomorrow Turkey. I mean, you guys just heard him. Maybe you could also share a few words about yourself.
Yeah, sure. You heard me for more than long enough. So just a quick intro. So before starting Hello Tomorrow Turkey, I was an energy economist looking at mathematical models in energy technology supply and demand. So always with my nose in the future. I used to be an investment analyst for the International Energy Agency in Paris. And then looking at energy storage technologies, I advise also companies in kinetic energy storage, as well as looking into the technologies of chemical air filtering. This is also what prompted me to go into deep tech, because I see so much technology developed in the lab that doesn't find its way fast enough to the market. And so I said, either you're in the lab to support deep tech, as a scientist or an entrepreneur, or you go and build the necessary structures. And I decided to apply the entrepreneurial mindset to building those structures and testing this in an emerging market context, so that hopefully can also help serve as a model in other developing regions across the world. Thank you.
Great. And Omer Bey, he's the Vice President and Head of Marketing for Asia Pacific region at Digital Realty. Could you also share some words?
Edwina, great to be here, and very much enjoyed the content today. I trust everyone else is. Omer Wilson, I head up marketing and strategy for Digital Realty across Asia Pacific, usually out of Singapore, currently in Turkey. So going to Timur's bridges, bridging both locations at the moment. Digital is the world's largest owner, operator, and developer of data centers. So based out of Austin, Texas. We used to be in San Francisco. Started around 2003, 2004, just after the dot-com boom and bust period. But most of the world's large social media, largest cloud, largest tech and financial and trading institutions live and grow within our facilities. As part of my role in Asia, seeing huge growth clearly, but also get the opportunity to work with a lot of deep tech startups, especially coming out of Japan, but also Korea, and also in fact Singapore, a number, and just seeing them grow within our facilities. So through the data ecosystem and across our 274 facilities in multiple parts across the world, and that growth. My other hat, so to speak, or my other area is I'm the founder of Anatolia.Asia, which is a consultancy that helps transition two ways, as we call it, a double bridge, one from Singapore to Turkey, and then from Turkey to Singapore. So startups from across the spectrum, but at the moment we're working with a few deep tech startups, especially from Japan, and one or two from Singapore looking to enter Turkey, and then a few interesting Turkish startups coming the other way as well. So a bit of color from my side.
Awesome. So I guess the first question will be for Altan Bey. So what are the latest deep tech trends in Turkey, and how has that evolved pre and post COVID?
Okay. The trend in Turkey as regards deep tech has its origins for almost 20 years. So the government is spending a lot of money, a lot of funding in the forms of grants to the universities, and providing non-financial subsidies to the companies located in technoparks, which are mentioned by Emre Bey and Timur Bey in their presentations as well. So there is an increase in the awareness of the technology as a means of development in Turkey for a while. And the funds like us are rather new. So we're kind of reaching out to the low-hanging fruits for a while. And what we have seen, or what we have realized, is that there is an immense amount of accumulated knowledge in academia, in technoparks, in small startups in Turkey. Where are they concentrated is medical devices and life sciences among the, I would say, is having the first spot. This is reflected in the number of applications or number of solicitations to our funds, and the patent numbers reflect these trends as well. Then comes the information technology, I would say, and especially in the last couple of years, we have seen a surge in the artificial intelligence startups dealing with every single field of application, be it from financial fintech opportunities or information security. We constantly receive pitch decks from the universities, from the academics, from the technology startups. And probably a little bit to our surprise as well, material science is very strong in Turkey as well. There has been an initiative by the government, especially towards Eskişehir region, to develop a material science center there, and which is, I think, which was a great success. Throughout several years, the government provided funding to the university there, which was Anadolu University, and there has a material science department. Now it's changed to the Eskişehir Technical University, but the research centers and the academics are still there. And in our last fund, we had the opportunity to fund 2 initiatives from 2 academics. And I think material science is very strong in Turkey, and especially in Eskişehir. I think these are the top 3 focus areas in deep tech that funds like us are investing, and the opportunities are there.
Great, thanks, Altan Bey. And Timur Bey, given that you also have a bird's eye view of the entire ecosystem as part of Hello Tomorrow, what are the hottest deep tech sectors in Turkey, and which sectors in general are Turkey most famous for?
Yeah, so as was just mentioned by Altan Bey, the ecosystem is changing extremely fast, and we have seen over the last few years a concentration that is also reflected in our applications. That's why running a challenge is always so useful, because you gather so much data. So we've seen on the first place almost between 25 and 30% healthcare and healthcare related applications. So they go from medical devices to drug discovery to other technological areas within healthcare, generally speaking, because we also have some gene editing and genetic and molecular biology startups emerging much quickly. Then we see that in material sciences, as was just mentioned, there are some specific areas of investment. Some universities, so just like was mentioned around Eskişehir, but also some private universities like Sabancı have their own material science departments that were built on funding, and that obviously funding attracts capital. Attracts human capital and qualitative teaching and research staff. And so with this come new spin-off opportunities, and that's what we've seen as well. So in composite material research, in generally speaking, new materials, as we call it, we've seen a surge as well. And then there is an overarching story of programming and software. Turkey is one of the countries in the world with the highest penetration of technology in everyday life. That goes from anything from mobile app development to much more complicated programming. And you see now with the rise of blockchain technologies, and with the ability for a digital player, a digital programmer, developer, or entrepreneur to play a role on the global stage, no matter where he or she is located, that has played a significant part in the growth of Turkey's programming let's say human capital base. Since years, decades, large companies like Google, Microsoft have been fishing top programming talent in Turkey and bringing them to the States or otherwhere. But now I believe that increasingly, with the momentum of entrepreneurship, you have more people that take the reins and say, I will start my company myself. And so last but not least, what I've witnessed personally, traveling across the country, is that you see more and more entrepreneurs from outside Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir, the large cities which are internationally known. You see entrepreneurs across Anatolia, southeastern Turkey, sometimes even close to Syria, to other parts of the world where people may not have the physical infrastructure to go to a well-funded deep tech technopark but where they can access the information virtually and they develop, their startups. And I believe that this ingenuity is something that, speaks for the Turkish ecosystem. There is a high range of the project applications that we see coming from Turkey are they go about, so the way to approach the problem is different. And maybe that's linked also to sociocultural, ways. I think Turkish itself, the language is a very metaphorical and image-driven, full of imagination, language. And so that translates in areas like, like physics or like programming, because you need to have imagination. And so I think these are some of the drivers. Having said that, still a third of the deep tech startups are academic spin-offs. So you have this correlation, just like you have in Singapore or in America or Europe, of the linkage of the quality of the educational institutes to the quality of the startups. And I'd just like to finish that in order for an ecosystem to grow, you basically need three things, right? You need the appetite and the will to succeed, which often happens with the young demographic and people who want to achieve something. The second is you need to have the necessary human capital in terms of quality. So the educational concentration comes in, and here the access to information across borders is important. And the third one is, in order to develop an ecosystem, you need to have some sort of like, give back mentality, that those that have successfully raised capital are investing it back into those that are still early stage. And this is something that we're seeing now. Yes, you only have maybe 29, 30 VC funds in Turkey that with the total, I think about $650 million, capital raised is a good number, but it's still smaller than many other countries. But you see that increasingly the money will hopefully also be reinvested, and so you will have some of this give back culture, have a further push to the growth of the ecosystem.
I see, interesting. And moving on to like the marketing front of deep tech, right, Omer Bey, how does how do deep tech firms do marketing, and how does that differ, in Turkey, the Middle East, and also Southeast Asia, given you have a global perspective on this?
Sure, I think there was a few points made earlier by both Timur Bey and Altan Bey. I'll focus in on one point Timur Bey made, which I think was very relevant, around finding the right relevance for the solution. And even he brought out from the Singapore example, choosing the right sector to grow. And I think that's one of the biggest issues with deep tech startups is there's always a great solution or idea, but where is the relevance in the real world, in the corporate world, and how is that going to fuel the growth? So the deep tech startups that have seen success, first I'll reference from Asia out, especially within our networks, have been the ones that quite early on have been able to market themselves within the right niche sector, so be it health, life sciences, manufacturing, financial services, and have actually found one or two key early wins, let's call them, or early large accounts that have enabled them to then market on the back of that relevance. Because the issue is when you have a game-changing idea, as we saw earlier, with the I forget which moment it was the Newton moment or the Copernicus, the earlier moment, where it's that really bright spark idea. It's great, it could change the world, but will it? So at that point, it's always difficult to get funding. It's difficult to really get people excited into that idea because they haven't seen the proof. So on the deep tech marketing from Asia, and I'll tie it to Turkey and Eastern Europe and the Middle East, it's that pragmatism which I find, and speed, which I find is very similar. So in terms of the similarities, Turkish startups and the Asian startups, because of the demographic, the young population, the fast-growing populations, now mainly South Asia, and then obviously India and China, arguably, that speed of having a solution and enabling it in real life, you can see it in both markets very clearly. The difference in terms of the marketing is obviously around the maturity. So in Asia, you've got much more mature markets in terms of investment models, the amount of levels of investment available. So, arguably in Turkey, they've got a harder battle to make, so they need to be even more pragmatic, and a lot clearly are winning. But it's, coming out of Asia, especially if you're in Japan or Korea or Singapore, you've got a more established, mature audience there that you can, get in front of. Whereas in Turkey, you've got to fight even more. And that's why, when you see those success stories, it's worth highlighting them even more in terms of how they've had to fight to get there.
I see. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Omer Bey. And Now, Alton Bey, building off what Timur Bey also just now shared on like human capital being so important, how do you go about scouting for and encouraging scientists to become entrepreneurs of successful deep tech ventures? And, great scientists might not have the commercial skills also to become great businessmen. So how do you also bridge them?
Okay. First of all, I just realized that I skipped your question about the COVID-19 effects or the impact on the entrepreneurship ecosystem.
Very meticulous, Alton Bey.
Sorry, I'll just quick go.
No, go ahead. Yes, awesome.
What we realized is that there was an increase in the medical devices interest in the entrepreneurship community as a response to the COVID, because everyone saw the opportunity there. But it takes time for the medical sector or medical devices to come up with an idea, to develop it, to certify it. So I think the increase in interest will continue for a while, but having a successful product on the market may take some time, but it's good because I think the countries also realize that it's of great importance for them to have some local manufacturing capacity under their control, as you more and more rely on the international sources, and which may be hindered, especially in the times of crisis. So I think, as in many other countries, Turkey will have or will see an increased interest into the medical devices post-COVID as well. And back to your original question of how do we scout the entrepreneurs. Just to add to the figures presented by Timur Bey, I'll just like to remind you that there are around 8 million students in the universities in Turkey. And the number of academicians or the researchers is close to 180,000, and of which around 30,000 are professors. And not all of them, but some of them are really well educated, especially in the United States or in Europe or in Southeast Asia. These are world-class researchers, and they have good connections to their peers abroad. They do publish with them, they do conduct research projects with them. Turkey has been a part of the European Union's research and technological development programs for more than 20 years. So I think the top 10 percentile of the academics in Turkey are well integrated, well educated, well talented. And what they lack is good examples, good best practices, which are very common in other countries. So the higher education system was rewarding them for publishing until a while. And it's changing. The universities and the Higher Education Council is promoting patents, collaborative research projects for academic ranking as well. And I think we are realizing, we are seeing this as a good example of government intervention to increase the entrepreneurship among the academics. Next to that, there are the technology development zones, which are very closely affiliated with the technologies, with the universities in Turkey. Every single technology development zone has to have a promoting university within its board. So the technology development zones are namely referred to the universities, Middlesex Technical University, Technopark, Istanbul Technical University, other Technokent kind of things. So these technology development zones provide the academics or the researchers to some playground to realize their dreams, to come up with or to transfer the knowledge, the technology transfer, which is accumulated in their labs for several decades into the real products. So where we look at is first the universities. We have good ties with them. We can reach every single university within a couple of hours, and then we are in close contact with the technology development zones and technology transfer offices in the universities. They know us as we are among the very few venture capital funds investing into deep tech opportunities in Turkey. There are not too many venture capital funds in Turkey focused on deep tech. So almost everyone knows us. And we are actively scouting for some ideas. For example, if you want to invest into cybersecurity or artificial intelligence, we probably are aware of every single researcher in Turkey who is conducting research. What comes next is, it's not very difficult to come up with the brilliant researchers. It is making them a team, coupling them with the business people, business-minded people. So technology is one side, transferring it to the market, coming up with a viable product and trying to market it, especially in the global markets, another thing. So our next job is always to couple the excellent researchers that we contacted to make a team out of them, to have people, business-minded people, business experienced people, putting it into the team and trying to provide the funding is the easiest way. So finding the excellent researchers, making a team out of them are the main job that we are putting our efforts into.
Great, thanks, Altan Bey. So now we have a question also from Jenny W in the audience. Which industry has been the strongest in producing the most startups in Turkey? And in the answer is also good to see the difference between Singapore and Turkey in the focus. So Emre Bey, I think, would you like to answer this?
Yes, I can get this question. Thanks very much. And what I would say, there are some commonalities, such as both countries have very successful fintech startups. I mean, thanks to the very strong and resilient, banking and financial institutions ecosystem. And apart from that, there are some differences which we could, complement each other as well. Similar to Singapore's positioning among Southeast Asia, Turkey is also itself a very much hub position and offering access to the surrounding markets like Middle East, Northern Africa, and particularly on the sectors like gaming, or sorry to say that not maybe directly related with the deep tech itself, but to be honest, gaming, the consumer-oriented businesses like e-commerce marketplaces, they're very strong and very much promising nowadays. So those who would like to discover in the startup ecosystem in Turkey, please feel free to take a look in deeper. And I believe you will see very strong leads who are supposed to become unicorns in a certain period of time. And that's what I would say. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Emre Bey. Maybe we'll have time for one or two more questions from the audience. So ZQ is asking, what are some examples of the most disruptive technology from Turkey? Does anyone want to take that?
Yeah, I'll be happy to take that if you want. I mean, as you've seen, the list is long, and it makes no sense to read through a list. The sectors I think have been discussed. I think it was maybe before the question or right after the question was asked. I mean, I can give lots of examples. I mean, we talked about the healthcare sector, right? So maybe give you another example outside, from material science. So BPRAC, for example, is a startup that develops thermoplastic-based sheets that are reinforced with aligned natural fibers like flax or hemp. So you see lots of interesting material science development here. There is another startup that I found very, very interesting because it comes from maybe an area that people may not have heard of, right? BioLife. There's a company that develops antimicrobial and antioxidant bioplastic granules from olive seeds. So that's something. Turkey produces a lot of olives and olive oil, and so this is a company that turned the sustainability model around around this very small input component. GlycoLens, for example, that was one of our finalists. They develop they have they basically developed the technology to address the what is called intraocular pressure, IOP. It's a disease for eyes, and so they sense it, monitor it, to address glaucoma. Another company which was also last year's finalist Inicio, they developed basically a personalized medicine on organ on a chip devices and services that can be then used in labs. So maybe that's a very strong contestant for for business opportunities in Singapore, especially because Singaporean hospitals, for example, offer a very good ground for high quality clinical trials. So I think one, and I had a great conversation with Ernest, who is running Hello Tomorrow Southeast Asia. There are examples in Singapore where companies that set foot there are using the Singaporean market in order to make, for example, like a clinical trial, a pilot project that may be only one in quantity, but much higher in quality, because it would be well regarded in other areas of the world. If you do clinical trials, then later in Europe, or a bit more difficult in the United States, but it could be used as a very good strategic stepping stone, especially in areas like healthcare. There are many other examples that I can go on and talk about. Maybe what you can do, if you're more interested in specific examples, I can share with you a detailed, a description of our finalists that have made it to the global stage. We're talking, as I said, like just 26 companies having raised $33 million only from our portfolio. So I'll be happy to share them in greater detail with you.
Great, thanks, Timur Bey. So it's 5 p.m. now. We've run out of time. Wei Min, do you want to end off?
I think if the speakers are okay, because I do not want to take up everyone's time, if the speakers are okay to maybe extend by another 5 to 10 minutes to just answer the remaining questions, then I think we can just continue on. Is everyone okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Sure.
Great. So Arina, just pass it back to you to just have the speakers just answer the remaining questions.
Okay, awesome. So Yanping Shi, she asked about whether Turkey sees a talent shortage in the emerging technologies.
I mean, from our point of view, let me take this question very quickly. What we see in Turkey, each and every year, we do have almost 1 million, college graduates, and out of that, there are almost 50,000 of them are graduating from the engineering and the relevant departments, and they are also pursuing their academic endeavors and becoming scientists or scientist entrepreneurs in the long run. So we do believe with our just 32 average age as being the youngest in Europe zone, we will most likely not experience any talent shortage in the short to mid-term, in my opinion. I don't know, Altan Bey or Timur Bey would agree with me, but apparently in today's circumstances, it is one of our strongest edges compared to our peer countries in the region.
Let me step in. I'll agree with Emre Bey. I think there's no talent shortage in the foreseeable future. Although we are losing some of our workforce to international markets, I think there is still a huge human resources in Turkey. What we lack is rather the funding. So there are too many opportunities or too many ideas, although the government is providing funding for research and development activities. And I should say it's been generous for a while. The risk-taking capital investments like venture capital funds are not too many in Turkey. And the amount of funding flowing to the deep tech opportunities in Turkey is, as Timur Bey said, it's $130 million, but it includes every single field of investment. So gaming or fintech or any social networks are included as well into this figure. So when you look at the deep tech opportunities and how much they receive venture capital funding, I think it should be not more than $20 million a year, which is very, very low compared to the potential of Turkey. And I think more and more funds, with more and more funds flowing into Turkey and into the venture capital funding from international and local sources, the talent shortage will be not an issue, especially in the deep tech fields, I would say. We have excellent medical researchers, materials researchers, top-notch software schools. I don't see any shortage in the near future.
Great. Thank you both, Emery and Alton Bey. So the last question will be for Timur Bey. Do you think innovation and developments in solar energy solutions are adequate? And how widely is solar used in Turkey today?
That's a great question. So solar energy is, I believe in Turkey right now, the latest figure is something around 6 to 7 gigawatts. And I think it's something around 4% of electricity generation, which is not bad, is very good, much better than many other countries. But this is, still a fraction of the potential because of the exposure and the geographical, situation of Turkey. Solar and wind as well have extremely high upside potential. In wind, Turkey is one of the, I think, in the world's top 10 fastest growing in terms of the added, installed capacity. And in solar energy, I think it's growing extremely fast. In terms of the research, I know that so there is, I've come across, institutes in Turkey that have done perovskite research. So this is a much more efficient, material that is used in solar photovoltaic cells, basically to increase the efficiency, which currently, is around, standard solar panels, you're talking about 21-22% efficiency in terms of the conversion. With perovskite, you can go up to 29. I think that's in some lab-based, simulations, but you can definitely increase it significantly. And then also, so yes, there is research, and I think this is going to be scaled up much more the more incentive mechanisms come in, especially with the renewable, financing schemes that is constantly being, overhauled by the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources. And then last but not least, I know that, you see also some later stage solar panels being developed, like, for example, bifacial solar panels. So they use basically, both sides of the panel to generate electricity and not just the top side. Also, again, increasing both, efficiency and actual, generation capacity. So in short, yes, it is growing fast. It is definitely not where it could be given the potential, but that's the upside. The financing mechanism, regulatory mechanisms are changing, but need to be monitored if you're, investing in it. It's fast changing. And last but not least, yes, there's also local research. But as you know, currently more than 70% of global solar panel production in terms of the technology and then, export capacity comes from China. So like anybody else, here the market, has also their macro dynamics.
Thank you, Timur Bey. Thanks everyone for all your super insightful remarks and answers. Wei Min, do you want to do a closing remark as well?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Elvina. Before I address everyone, I would just like to launch a very quick poll for your interest in connecting with the Turkey Investment Office. So if anyone were to be, after hearing from all our speakers today, you're interested in knowing more or even to be connected with the Turkey Investment Office, please do indicate here in the poll. I'm sure Emre Bey will get back to you very shortly. So I'll just give maybe just a very quick another 10 more seconds for the poll to be done. And yep. All right. Okay, so once again, thank you, Elvina, for the great interaction with the speakers. I hope the audience did manage to have a deeper understanding on the investment scene within Turkey. And if I may take Timur Bey's words, I hope it's not a little too much out of context. I also hope that eventually we'll be able to build more of those bridges between Singapore and Turkey, forming a deeper level of interaction between the deep tech ecosystems of the two countries. That being said, I would like to represent SGinnovate to thank all the attendees who have stayed with us till now. I'd like to say a big thank you to all speakers, Alton Bey, Timur Bey, and last but not least, Omer Bey, for all the great insights and discussion points shared. For the attendees, do keep a lookout for a post-event mail, which will contain a recording of this session. Do reach out to us at events@sginnovate.com if you'd like to connect with any of our speakers or just to have a chat with us for collaboration opportunities. Do also remember to give us your post-event feedback when you exit the webinar or through the post-event mail as well. With that, this is Wei Min signing out from this webinar. Hope everyone will have a great day ahead. or a great long weekend ahead. Stay safe, stay healthy. Hope to have you again in our next webinar. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
All the best.
Bye.